I've been doing a lot of experimenting recently with my work in the studio. Experimenting with combining materials, compositions, shapes, and just using really tacky art materials with some more high-end ones, and just having fun playing with things on paper whilst trying to create some finished works of art. And I used my typical approach to art making, which is I start putting things on the paper and I will see what motifs, what shapes, what colours emerge and what images I subsequently get from that. These are just two examples. And so I think those artworks could be a lot of things. They could just be explorations of a theme, like archways. I've been using a lot of archways recently, a lot of curves in the compositions. They could be an exploration of that. They could be sketches for some set designs or some set pieces, and I may photograph these with some cardboard sculptures or some figurines to see how they interact with the space as 3D objects. But really, they can be anything, and it's about experimenting and playing by combining these materials, and I'm just gonna show you how I've been starting these works today. This is just some relatively normal mixed media paper from a sketchbook, and I'm going to start, which I've been starting a lot recently, with some quite tacky cutouts of images that I've taken and have then printed out on just regular printer paper, nothing fancy. And I've been really interested in these blocks of textures, natural textures, and I'll just place these relatively randomly, but with still a conscious thought about where they're going in relation to each other. And so it's the balance between the intuitive and the thought behind the application. There has to be an intention behind what I'm doing. So I suppose it's not really random at all, because I'm always thinking in terms of the space, the composition, where things go in relation to each other, how things are working next to each other. I'm going to keep with this theme of an archway. Just going to work with this highlighter. I think I'll do 3 of them, because I've got 3 pieces of collage and then 3 of these archways. I'm going to use some of this brown paper now. Again, thinking about the shapes I've already got. I'm going to do some more shallow archways. Using the negative of that shape over here. And now, having looked at this so far, I think there needs to be one other piece of brown over here. I think possibly a more full shape rather than an archway, to mirror what's going on with this piece over here. So it doesn't have to be fancy materials, because so far we've got printer paper, a highlighter, and some old packaging material. And in turn, these have created more shapes as the marker bleeds onto the paper. and interacts with that. And I'm seeing windows in this piece. So far, I'm seeing windows. And so I'm going to lean into that. I'm going to be very rudimentary. Use some very cheap gouache paint, which in reality I think is just poster paints. Decided that I'm going to use some blue next. Let it mix straight onto the paper. Ooh. We can work with that. Smaller brush as well, so I can retain these shapes around the archways. This reminds me almost of a view from a seaside, like a bed and breakfast view of the seascape. Some of the paint is dry, but there are still areas of wetness in there. And I'm going to go in with the same medium of paint, but I was thinking of lines this time, thinking of more lines. I'm going to work directly from this black, this mirror, this M arch shape that we've got over here. I'm quite pleased with how this is turning out as an artwork, using a lot more painterly approaches and drawing approaches with this one, which I'm really enjoying. So I've gone and added these calligraphic marks, again thinking about dry brushing mixed with wet brushing, the way that the paint's interacting with the dry areas, the less dry areas. You can see here some of the white has mixed in with the black that I have applied. And a medium I've been using a lot of in these works recently has been the oil pastel. So I'm wondering what it would look like to see some oil pastels, black oil pastels, used in a similar way. And I want to leave that there before I risk it getting too busy. Add some little pops of red. So it's been just about half an hour in my time that I've been working on this artwork. You can already see how much is going on. Whether you like it or not, I don't really care. I really like this one. I think it's probably the most successful out of the 3 that I've done so far.